please send the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Glad to hear about y'all today. We thought it was spring break and summer was coming, but who knows? We'll just take it day by day. We're going to start off tonight. We actually have a statutory required by law meeting that we're going to conduct first. Then after that's concluded, we'll go to our regular board meeting. So we'll start with is there any public comments about what we're going to do tonight? This Andy, our treasurer, could explain in more depth, but the Board of Education, as do other governmental entities, have to establish the levying rates for each year. And we commenced this about a month ago, and we put them on review. So now the law requires us on April the 15th of each year to actually set what the Board of Education is going to establish as our rates. So we're going to do that tonight. So that'll be the first action. So I don't think anybody has signed in here about that topic. If I'm correct, please let me know. So I don't think so. So we'll do the statutory meeting, and then after that we'll go on to our regular meeting. Okay, so on the public comments, the floor is open. Is there anybody who would like to comment about this? I realize for most of you, it's probably like, what is he talking about? Sometimes we're cut that way too. But I've tried to give you a little explanation. Bertie, anything that you'd like to share with us in addition or prior up to what you told us before, or anything that we need to know?
No, it's just simply approving from the West Virginia State Tax Department what I presented to the board on March the 18th. And the state approved those rates. So we just need to set those rates in.
Okay. So we've kind of given an overview there. Okay, that being said then, could I have a motion to approve the tax levy order for this year? Ms. Smith made the motion. Ms. Smith? Second. Mr. Baker, second that. Is that an all yes vote?
Yes.
All yes vote, okay. Now, could I have a motion to adjourn the statutory meeting? Mr. Wilkerson? Mr. Curry, second. Is that an all yes vote?
Yes.
Okay. That's all. Okay. Next, we'll commence the regular meeting of the Board of Education here on April the 15th of 2014. The approval of the minutes of the April the 8th, 2014 meeting. Can I have a motion?
I'll move.
Mr. Curry?
Second.
Mr. Baker made the second. Is that an all yes vote?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Okay, we're down to public comments, and that's what many of you signed in for this evening. I'll give you just a minute. As far as public comments, the open meetings law requires boards of education and all public entities to let the public know what they're going to talk about. So, and there's a number of days that has to be done in advance. Mrs. Powell, the superintendent and board secretary, sends our agendas out on Thursday prior to the Tuesday meeting so that we meet that requirement. The only reason I say that is that in order for the board to be actively involved, engaged with some that come and sign in, you have to be on our agenda. So, and you'll see, and as people learn that, they learn, well, I have to be on the agenda for the back and forth. But that does not prevent people like yourselves that have come in and just want to speak to us. And so the only reason I say that is we will be listening intently and hear what you say and, making notes and things like that. But we won't be able to answer questions from you. We won't be able to discuss it with you because, once again, it's not been something that the public is aware that we're going to discuss this. But that doesn't mean that we won't hear you. And Mrs. Lucas here will certainly be very attentive, I'm sure. Okay, so the first person that signed in is Connie Hope Porter. Come on up.
And my West Hamlin people can come along as well.
Anybody you want to bear with, you bring them on.
We are here to ask, to give you, we were told by Mr. Lloyd that we needed to start presenting to you any updates that we have to our landscape at our school. anything that we plan on doing, and we wanted to go over that with you, some of the things that we have, and on a plan to fix. One is the walking track. We need to finish the walking track. Probably when the weather breaks, who knows when that will be. We need to get our volunteers back, and they will continue to work on the walking track. Cleanup and landscaping, trimming the bushes and things like that, the landscaping part of it. Then comes my part, that is West Hamlin Preschool playground updates. I've got you a little list of everything. We put our little heads together. We're always trying to do improvements. Just give it to Brenda. Okay. There's several things on there. Do you want me to read them all to you, or, okay. One of the things that, and this isn't going to have, this is just a plan that we have. These are, pardon.
Do you have numerous copies?
Yes.
If you'd like to give those to us, that'd be okay. We'll just take them and I just want to,
Okay.
yeah, we can do that.
And like I said, these are just things that we preschool teachers have put our heads together, and things that need to be done on our playground. And one of them is fixing the drainage problem. There's an existing drain there. We need to uncover it and do all the stuff there we need to do to fix the drainage problem. Our babies can't play in the grass area because it's so swampy. We need to relocate 2 of our dirt mounds if needed. We have these little mountains out there for the kids to play on. If we can get our gardening projects, we have some wooden gardening things that we're going to add. We may have to relocate one of our little mountains, so we put that on there. We're going to try to plant a pine tree if possible, and maybe 3 shrubs in one of the empty corners of the playground. We're going to try to build 2 child-sized benches for the grass area part of the playground. We're going to really try to switch out the dirty pea gravel and for some washed pea gravel. We had some, Head Start was able to do some funding for us, and we wanted to extend our pea gravel area. And when they did that for us, they forgot to get the washed pea gravel. So now our babies are covered in dirt whenever they play there, but it's okay. But we really want to try to get some washed pea gravel in there. Then it's the wooden planters for the gardening projects, and then we're going to finish staining the front of our storage building. We've got the 3 sides. When DirecTV was at school, they painted those for us. We just ran out of stain, and we need to finish the front of that. So all of these things are going to be done when we, first of all, if we need anything purchased, when we do preschool fundraisers or through donations, and when we get volunteers and parents to come out and help us. So there's not a timeline. These are just things that we want to work toward. It may be next year before we get to these, but these are just projects that we want to work on. Okay. That was preschool playground. The next thing is the 4-H garden.
And
Sabrina.
I'm Sabrina Salmons. I am a Title I teacher at West Hamlin, but I also help with the 4-H program. And we have already broke ground before we found out we had to do this. On our garden, we have a plan to build, this year we're hoping to build up to 8 raised beds, which are 4 foot by 8 foot and 12 inches tall. These have already been funded from community donations, as well as some fundraisers that the 4-H Club has already completed. With our garden, it's going to be built by the 4-H Club, but it's going to be open to all students at West Hamlin. And you'll see there's a outline of kind of what our garden looks like. It's in front of the patio at West Hamlin, in between Dairy Road and the patio. And we already have 6 beds dug out, and we have the beds built, but they're at my house actually. We had to stop when Mr. Roy told us you guys needed approval. So we wanted to see if we could request permission for that. We also are wanting to build 2 vertical beds. You'll see those on the other 2 foot by 2 foot and 3 foot tall, and then a potato tower. And we actually received a grant from the Captain Planet Foundation to install some rain barrels, as well as buy some curriculum and things that we're going to be for next school year if we can get our garden in. And this is a sustaining project. We're hoping after the initial push, which we've already received $700 in fundraising, $400 in community donations, and the $1,800 grant. It's going to be built and maintained for the 4-H Club for this first year, and then the teachers are willing and excited to take it on and use it for their classroom. That is it.
And another improvement at West Hamlin will be Mr. Pennington for the softball batting cages out back.
you're all doing a very good job. I'm sure they will too, not the
Okay, I'm
men
sure
are
they will too.
flounder here. Now, Jonah, is this all a part of what you're all gonna talk about, or do I need to worry about who's written their name down here?
Well, we don't know, we were just told to show up.
Okay, yeah, you just told me to come, okay. We can
Well, the
help.
batting cages were just on West Hamlin's list, and I know they use
Okay.
the softball field there,
Okay,
so.
and you're Norman Pennington? Uh-huh.
I'm assistant coach.
Okay, and,
I'm William Baker.
okay, so you two guys are, I'm just seeing who signed in here. So William Baker and Norman Pennington signed in. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Well, what we've got going on down there right now at the softball field is we're rebuilding some new batting cages. We've had some pipe donated to us. County Commission gave us money, what, a year, 2 years ago for the nets. Other than that, we haven't done a whole lot of anything. Don't have a whole lot going on except working on getting a new scoreboard for the girls softball. Other than that, I don't know of anything else we've got going on.
No, we got it to come on, but we're still having some wiring problems. We can't figure out where it's at yet.
So you're just advising us that you're.
But we're working on stuff.
Okay, great.
And other than that, we don't have a whole lot going on. Everything down here is in pretty fair shape.
Basic upkeep, just,
That's great.
And it's one of the better ballparks around. You can see some of the places we gotta play.
Okay, great.
appreciate it.
Thank
That's all we
you.
got.
Thanks.
Very much.
May I come back up and turn my hat around to Lincoln County track coach hat here? I also want to just make sure that it's okay if for some reason we need to paint a circle on the road around, our babies, of course, as you know, have no place to practice track except the asphalt around there. And we have to paint every now and then a shot put circle or a disc circle, and we've used spray paint to do that. I just want to make sure that's okay. And we also have a very, very poor little sand pit for them to practice long jump in. If I can get volunteers to help me with the long jump pit, if we can make some renovations, I want to make sure that's okay as well. Okay for the long jump pit, and it's okay to paint circles with paint. So those are the only things we do with track other than run on the asphalt, so.
Very good. Very good. Okay, now, Jonah Atkins. Is Jonah, I don't, if it's,
Jonah is not.
Oh, okay.
Josh Watson with special education.
so you're going to fill in for Jonah?
Yes, sir.
Or maybe you're.
I have some package information here for you. We are planning to build what we call an outdoor learning center for our students in Young Valley. And I've already received a grant in the amount of $4,500 from the Lowe's Toolbox for Education Foundation. That was awarded in January of this year. And I have plans to secure 2 other grants in the amount of $2,000 each, one from a group called Nature Hills Nursery, and another one from the West Virginia DNR through their outdoor wildlife learning site projects. This whole process is just a thing to get our students outdoors and get them to connect with real-world learning. And it's not just something that's restricted to science classes. You know, you can take your art class out there, English, what have you. But the whole project was going to include native plants. In order to get a few of the grants, we have to have at least, I think it was 90% of native species in the park. So we have native trees, shrubs, native wildflowers. We have plans to put some birdhouses and bird feeders, a fountain with a pond, and some pavered walkways. But we've done our research, and we believe that this will help our students get more engaged in the school, get them more motivated to come to school and learn a little bit more. And this will take place on the north side of the school building, on that lawn section there. And the actual grant process through Lowe's, it's a year timeline from the time that the grant was awarded. So I have until January of 2015 to complete this project.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay. No one else has signed in. I'm assuming the rest of you are just here for moral support or something, I suppose. Okay. now that everyone's signed, I'm just gonna make a general comment here about, not necessarily what Guyan Valley has presented today, but just in general. Back several years ago, when I was the principal at Midkiff Elementary, and it was just a wee fellow running around,
Long time.
way back on. But a gentleman by the name of Con Hoke was very active in the PTA, along with Deanna, his wife, and some other people in there, and we were all about the same age. And we were real, we were energetic. So we got out there and we planned, we were gonna change the whole outlook, the way the front of the school looked, because it looked dismal. But anyway, so we came before the board, and really, that's kind of what we were doing here, because I was gonna say, okay, we're gonna do this. I think I was about 26. I thought we'd just do it, and they said, well, you gotta get the boards okay before you can go do that. So here I came to the board meeting over at the AV Center and presented our plan. Con and some of the rest came, and here's what we were gonna do. So they said, that's great, and we then proceeded on a couple of Saturdays there to work on that. We did have one problem. We broke the main water line going up to up Route 10, and but everybody was kind of forgiving. They didn't come out after us or anything. Gave a chance for it to get fixed. But anyway, we really drastically changed the way the front of the school looked during that, and that's really what the board is looking at here. I know some people think that some of these things are petty, that we're saying doing this, but we're, many of these things, I think you can go through Mrs. Lucas or maybe Mr. Midkiff and through the maintenance director, and those are kind of things that don't necessarily require us to be involved. But when people are taking on things where they're going to drastically change the campus or your school, then we need to know what's going on, because we don't want to. One, we want to make sure that we think it's a proper idea, which 99% of the time we do. But also that when people ask us about it, we don't have too dumb of a look on our face, like we don't even know what you're talking about. So it's kind of a combination of those things. Many of these things, once again, might not be on our agenda for the future, that we're going to say, okay, and go through all these things you all mentioned to us tonight. But it's more of just keeping us informed of what your plans are. And then, once again, if you go through the superintendent's office, she can make a judgment if she thinks that's something the board needs to deal with. But oftentimes, Mrs. Lucas, they can judge on their own and see if they feel like they'll say, okay, you know what you're doing. Maybe the maintenance director might have to come to the school and see where you're doing it or something like that. And they may be able to go ahead and say, yeah, go ahead and do that, because that happens all the time. But it's sometimes things happen and people do things, and once again, it might be something not that we disagree with, but we may have questions about it. But it seems to me like most of the things that you all presented us tonight are just basic things, and you're working hard to improve your school, and we're wholeheartedly behind you to do that and want to do anything we can do. Especially most of the things that I read here, you already got the money for them, or you're working to get funding for. That makes it even better. But I just wanted to say that that's our intent here, that we don't want to be surprised when somebody does something, because we want to know what's going on and in your community and what you're doing at your school, and we support you 100%. So thank you for coming, and you're welcome back anytime. If you actually want to get in a little talk with us, get with Ms. Powell like the Wednesday before the board meeting. She'll put you on the agenda, and we'll go back and forth as long as you want to.
You can ask questions like, how are you going to grow a garden under big monstrous oak trees?
So he has hard questions here. And he went to Guyan Valley, so we knew what we were going to do.
Science, shade and light.
Okay. Thank you very much. We appreciate y'all coming out.